All right. You already know what time it is. It's your boy Bigg Steele with my guy.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I got one of my favorite, my boy from one of my favorite podcasts on the show right now, man. EFN, what's happening, dog?
What's going on, fellas, man? Thank you for having me here.
Yes, sir.
Man, you know what's something I always wanted to ask you, man. I could swear, man, was Drink Champs ever on Sirius?
There was a version before it was ever Drink Champs. So a few years before Drink Champs, Nori had moved to Miami. Several years before Drink Champs, Nori had moved to Miami. He moved by my neighborhood where I had my studio. He started working out of my studio. This is after like he did that reggaeton stuff that he did.
Right.
And even though I'm Latino, I was never into reggaeton, and he knew that. I was just a diehard hip hop head, right? And so he moved to Miami because, you know, the industry kind of turned their back on him, you know, at least the English side of the industry, you know.
Right.
So he came to Miami to take a break from New York, and he's like, yo, E, bring me back to hip hop, basically. And so we started working out of my studio, and a homie named Leo G, who was at XM, this is before Sirius XM merged. He was like, I think he was like a program director at XM at that point. He had 66 Raw was his channel. So he offered to us to do a radio show that we could submit. We could record it in my studio here in Miami and send it in, which I don't think at the time they were doing that. You either had to be at their studios, which at the time XM was in DC. And so we started a radio show, which Nori wanted to name. He named it Militainment Crazy Raw Radio. He wanted to include everybody's name. Militainment is Nori, Crazy Hood Productions is mine. Raw was the channel we were on, 66 Raw Radio. And if you look back, there's a couple clips on YouTube of that show. It was a weekly show, and we had DJ doing a mix show in it. And it looks and sounds just like Drink Champs. We introduced ourselves the same way. We was drinking Tiger Bone back then. And then we would have like a couple guests because we were like in deep South Miami, and not that many people made it out to us. Like Fat Joe, I think, came through, Swiss Beats, a couple people, but it was mainly like us and the crew just talking reckless and talking about current events and hip hop and stuff like that. And that looked and sounded like Drink Champs, and that's kind of like what inspired eventually to want to do Drink Champs as a podcast.
I remember that shit, dog. I heard that shit one time, and I swear, and I thought I was tripping. I was actually arguing with the homie the other day. I said, man, I think Drink Champs been around for a long time. And y'all
like 3 years.
Y'all one of the, I would say, man, one of the OGs in podcasting, man. I think, because shoot, Gangster Chronicles, I think we are 380 something episodes. How many episodes y'all in now? Maybe 1,000?
Nah. We're at like the 500 mark, something like that.
Yeah, because y'all was around. Y'all one of the OGs, man, before this thing got overcrowded. Now every rapper got a podcast.
We're about to celebrate in March of 2026, 10 years of Drink Champs.
Okay. Yeah, that's official.
Yeah, 10 years. And then before that, like you said, we had that show, which we were on XM before the merger. Then we were on Sirius XM. We did that show for like 3 years. And we were on 66 Raw, on Hip Hop Nation, on Backspin, like all the different channels that they had, the hip hop channels. We were on all those stations moving around.
How long did it take before y'all started making money? Because this is one thing I tell people. How long it started taking before y'all start making real money?
It took us about 6 months to make any money from doing the podcast. We hit from the gate. First episode was a hit. But what happened was we were on CBS radio. It was just audio at the time. I mean, we were filming from the beginning. I knew video was the future of it. So we were filming from the beginning, but we were just using that as clips to promote the audio. So we're on CBS radio for distribution. And it was such a big deal that they were using the same advertising people that they use for all their regular radio. And they didn't really know what to make of the podcast side of things, little less this show called Drink Champs, you know, just talking reckless, you know, talking about hip hop. Like it was just, they didn't know what to make of it. And the numbers were so crazy that they couldn't even sell it because they were like, you deserve this much money, but you haven't been around long enough for us to like sell it to the advertisers. So they just couldn't figure out how to sell us to get ad revenue. And it took 6 months before we saw our first check.
Well, they wasn't messing with no podcast back then. I remember we had Gangster Chronicles. We was also in the CBS building, man. The homies out here. We wasn't because y'all was on Played Out It. We were on this company called Intercom, something like the Intercom. And we had came in like the #3 show when we first started. We was the #3 show in their whole thing. They gave all these people all this money, man, from I forget the name of it, all these different companies they started giving big bread to, right? And we were #3. And I started talking to actually the ad department about getting ads and everything. And they told us, man, people didn't want to advertise on a show called the Gangster Chronicles.
Right. I imagine, yeah. Yeah, they
those
didn't know
were the early days.
Those were, and that was a corporate structure. They didn't know what to do with podcasts, little, you know, hip hop podcasts. You know, our show, we're drinking, so the advertisers were nervous, and it was all new to people, so they couldn't sell it at all, man. But it was funny because we'd go to the CBS radio building, and they was all fans of it, but they're like, "Yo, we can't sell you guys. Like the advertisers are just scared." And then, like I said, 6 months later, and we had to make that choice, knowing myself, like, we're going to invest in this, push it. We know we got a hit here. We're not seeing a dime from it. We're putting out money, but we saw the vision and the future. And then once that first check came, you know, 6 months later, from then on, it just grew.
Man, y'all got one of the craziest shows out there, man. I know one of the episodes that really tripped me out, man. The DMX episode.
That first DMX was crazy, yeah.
When y'all had DMX, man, what do you be thinking when you be sitting there like looking at this shit in real time sometimes, bro?
I mean, look, I try to maintain the fan in me of the culture and hip hop, so I'm enjoying every moment of it. But sometimes it's surreal. Like that episode was crazy because X didn't even know what a podcast was when he sat with us. We could do a documentary about that one episode. Because at that time, one of our managers of Drink Champs Management was this dude, Ali. I don't know if you guys knew Ali from the Def Jam days. He worked with DMX also. He was a part of DMX's management. So Ali was working with us. So he was able to, you know, talk X into sitting with us. But X was like, well, I don't know what a podcast is. You know, you're telling me to do it. I'm cool with Nori. I'm down to do whatever. I don't know what it is, but I'm down to figure it out with you guys. So he's like, come to my hotel room. He was in Miami he was going to do a show or something. He's like, come to my hotel room. We'll do it at the hotel. So we're like, all right, how are we going? We hadn't really done it like that in a hotel, but we were ready. We were running and gunning, setting up wherever. And I was used to that from my mixtape days. I would go to conventions and set up a whole little studio in the hotel lobby and catch artists and get drops. I probably got you at some point. Like I would get drops, freestyles, everything. So I was used to that. So we go to the lobby, we set up shop, we tell the people at the front, like, nah, don't worry about it. We need you to turn down the lobby music. They're like, what's going on? Nah, you go. But they kind of nervous. They see a bunch of dudes there. So they comply. But you know, we're being polite and professional, but they don't know what's going on. And then X takes forever. He finally comes down. He sees the stuff, but he's like, yo, I'm not ready yet. And then him and Nori go outside and they talk for a while and they start drinking Henny. So a lot of people that watch that episode, they think that X, you know, like he might have gone back on the drugs or, you know, whatever, like relapsed or something, because it looked like he was on. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing that he did was drink some Henny. A lot of Henny he drank, you know. So we had an issue with we were using straight up Pro Tools to record these things, and I was bringing a whole bunch of studio equipment even to bring with us, and our Pro Tools it shut down on us, and we had to like reinstall it, and we're using the hotel Wi-Fi. You already know that's fucked up.
Yeah.
So my engineer is like nervous, and it's not even our regular engineer. Our other engineer was out of town, so we had a dude filling in, and he was sweating. He's like, we're like, yo, come on, what's going on? It said it was going to take 45 minutes for that thing to get back up and going. So we had to convince X, like, yo, chill. Nori had to sit there and just talk to him. They outside, they drinking. So by the time he finally gets and sits down with us, they done gone through a whole bottle of Hennessy. And then he's sitting down. He don't really know what this is. He's used to regular radio interviews. He doesn't know what this intimate setting is all about. But he just rolls with Nori and with us, and we sit down. And then you see what that becomes. You know, he gets emotional. He prays. He gets angry. Every emotion is in that episode. He does the prayer, and that episode is the one that really like was out of here for us. Like
that's what I was gonna say. To me, that was the one, man, that really just, because I was a fan from day one, but that was the one that really just put y'all on flight status.
And it almost didn't come out.
What?
He didn't want it to. He came back and he's like, yo, let's do that. Scrap that one. Let's do it over. And we're like, nah, man, scrap it. What are we talking about here? He's like, come to my crib, and I don't know where he lived, in somewhere in upstate New York or something. He's like, y'all fly out here and we'll redo the whole shit. And, you know, in podcasting, when you do a whole episode with somebody, to redo that is not going to be the same.
We don't have a few of those.
You know, it's difficult to redo that same organic, you know,
originality is gone and shit.
Completely. So it took a lot of finessing to convince him to just let us ride with it. I don't think he was ever totally convinced, but he just, you know, we ended up putting it out, and then the rest is history.
How often has that happened with y'all? Because y'all got some crazy ass episodes, especially when people they get to drinking.
We've had a couple people, you know, who signed the paper and then later on wanted to like cancel it or edit it crazy. And early on, we were real hardcore about not editing. Early on, we've softened up to that, you know, and also we were never gonna keep something in there that was gonna incriminate somebody or talk about they family life, like they kids, they wives. We never were gonna keep anything like that. But anything else was to us was like, it's fair game. If you talked about it, you're a grown ass man or woman, and you know, you knew what you was doing. So, but we've gotten a little bit softer on that, where we kind of like respect the guests a little bit more to be like, all right, if you really feel strongly about editing something, you know, we'll consider. Even on our end, we sometimes be like, you know, that's not going to fare well for that person, so we might edit something out. Like from my point of view, and I'm sure Nori feels the same way, the show is not built around gossip. It's not meant to like, you know, gotcha moments or clickbait. Like really, we're here to celebrate the artist, the culture, the legacy. So how are we going to be celebrating you if it's things are going to come out that's going to make you look bad, you know?
That's what I always got from it. And right now, man, in the time we live in today, it's all about gossip. It's all about trying to catch somebody slipping.
It's all about putting somebody on Front Street or catching somebody in some bullshit. And I think you get more rapport with motherfuckers when you can just be upfront and original. And, you know, that way motherfuckers don't be afraid to come on your show and shit. Right. You feel me? That way you can secure a lot of guests, because if they can look at other episodes and see, oh man, these motherfuckers are straight. You know what I'm saying? Nor right. And they good as a motherfucker. So I don't feel threatened by going on a show feeling like I'm gonna get tricked into some shit, you know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, people in the early days, people were nervous about coming to Drink Champs. It was not that easy to get guests. If you look at a lot of the guests, it was a lot of people who were cool with me and Nori, you know. So and Nori still had to convince people. They're like, yeah, because we come from that era where you just don't go out there and talk a lot. You don't, you know, you don't do the video, you don't take the picture, like unless you're doing a press run and it's about the project. We come from that era, but we knew what we were doing was important. We knew that we wanted to platform our peers at the very least, and the pioneers before them that weren't getting platformed at the time. You know, they weren't able to go on the radio anymore. So we felt it was important. So eventually when people would come on the show, be like, oh, all right, this ain't what I thought it was. And you know, we always tell people, like, you don't have to get drunk. Like, that's on you. Like, if you want to drink, it's on you. If you don't want to drink, you don't even got to drink. Well,
most people do want to go up there and get drunk, though.
People want to just have fun. And that's the whole thing, is we celebrating, like, let's have fun. But, you know, do it responsibly.
You know, the fact that y'all do have all that liquor up there and all that, have y'all ever had any serious smoke up there?
Like, you talking about what? Weed smoke?
No, I'm talking about somebody wanting to scrap, like
beef?
somebody
like
getting
some
upset,
beef?
somebody getting mad.
Oh yeah. We've had I mean, look, very few. Like for the most part, you would think it'd be a lot more beef and a lot more shit happening on the show because of the liquor. But for the 10 years that we've been doing it, you know, about to be 10 years, it's been pretty smooth. But there's been a handful, maybe not even a handful, like 2 or 3 guests that maybe got into their feelings in the liquor, and then in the moment wanted to cancel the show and walk off the show and shut the show down and it's like, and try to take over the show. And you know, it was the liquor talking, it wasn't even them.
Right.
And what happens is people will come on the show and it's like they want to outdrink me or Nori, or they want to, and it's like, nah, we kind of, our body's already used to it. We used to sitting down for like 3 hours, 4 hours and just drinking. We might get up at some point at the end and we're out of here. Like my wife is like, damn, you got fucked up. And I'm on the show, I'm okay, but when I get home, it's a different story.
Right.
But a lot of people aren't used to that, drinking that much, and then you see like in the second hour, they just shift. And there's been a couple people that got in their feelings that they got a little bit out of line. But whatever. Nothing real serious has ever happened to the point where, you know, people put hands on anybody.
So you ain't never had that one guest that you was like, man, I might have to put hands on this fool.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, yeah, that happened. Like there's been times where I think I've gotten more mad than Nori. Like Nori be the one telling me, yo, chill. Because we've had an issue where there's someone who's like, yo, they want to shut down the show. Like they go into our camera people, shut it down. I'm like, yo, that's not for you to do. You got to watch out, bro. You want to talk to me and Nori, that's one thing. But you don't start going to our camera people and our staff and tell them to shut shit down and this is over. Like, nah, man. Take us to the side and we can talk about it. Well, it did happen with Rory one time, from Rory and Maul. He got upset. I forgot what the reason was. And I forget who the other people were. There was someone not that long ago, like a year ago. Oh, I can't remember.
They just wanted to shut the whole show down.
What did they just get too intoxicated, feel like they said something out of line, and then they just like, no, man, or they get into their feelings about a question that's asked.
That or I think I want to remember. I actually want to tell you who it was not too long ago, but the most recent one was someone that heard someone you've been to the show, so you see how we got, not only we got staff, but we got our homies there too. And someone in the background made a comment, but it wasn't nothing negative or anything. They were just like chiming in, and the guests took it like, I guess in their mind of already being kind of like, you know, a little tipsy. They thought someone was saying something negative in the background, and then they switched on us, and they just got up and they like, who's saying that? What was going on? No, this is a setup, and they just started like wilding out. And I'm trying to remember who. It's an artist that's a producer too, man. If it comes to me, I'll let y'all know.
It wasn't DJ Quick, was it?
No. It wasn't Quick. But yeah, so that's happened just very few times, and nothing ended up happening so serious where it got to that point, you know, where hands were thrown. It was just, we ended up talking it out. But those were some couple tense times.
Because it's a real vibe up there. I can't see nobody coming up there tripping because y'all don't really, you know, everything is cool up there.
Right. Yeah.
Everything is real cool. You know, one of the things I thought Nori and Lamar Odom was going to scrap because they had he was looking at Nori kind of crazy.
That would have been a sloppy scrap if it happened.
I think they was both faded, man. And like the way Lamar was looking at them, I said, man, they're about to get down.
Yeah, that was one of the crazier ones. But nah, when we rapped, nothing happened at all.
Because y'all for sure don't force nobody to drink or smoke or do
not at all.
People go up there to get faded because they want to, and I think that's what people think when they come on the show, that y'all up there just forcing people to drink.
Nah. And that's the thing, you know, I'm proud of the moments when we have guests that they like, yo, I'm not drinking anymore, or I don't drink, and it's the same vibe, you know, like, and I always tell people, don't worry, me and Nori will do the drinking for you. Like, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna drink, and you just vibe with us. And we don't force nobody to drink, and it's still the same type of episode.
Man, did you ever imagine, man, that y'all show would become like a part of the lexicon of hip hop, man? Because y'all the shit, dog. Y'all winning awards, man, and everything else. I see y'all out there killing it, man. Have been killing it for a long time.
Never, man. And for me, just a DJ from Miami, a mixtape DJ out of Miami, to be a part of this, it's been a dream come true, to be honest with you, man. Like I still maintain the fan in me. I wouldn't do it if I didn't still maintain the fan in me. And I love every moment of it, man. And it's dope because I've been able to not only do something that's put on for my city, I could rep my town, my city, my crew, but now it's something even bigger than that. You know, it's really taken a life of its own. It's cemented in hip hop, which I would have never thought. You would have told 17, 18-year-old me that I would be a part of something like that. I would have been like, nah, you crazy. I'm just trying to make this one mixtape right now.
Yeah, because your presence, Crazy Hood's presence in Miami is definitely felt. I remember I was on the freeway with my wife. You know, when I was down there, my wife, she wanted to go sightseeing and all that. And I look over and I see the big boom box and thing. I said, oh, that's the homie spot over there.
Yeah.
How long you had that spot over there?
Nah, that's so one of my homies who I grew up with, he's a a famous legendary graffiti artist out here, and he's had that boombox like locked, like it's his. You know, graffiti writers, when they claim something, is theirs. You know, if somebody goes over it, is beef. So he's been recreating that boombox in Wynwood for the past, I think, almost 10 years now. And then in the past year or two, he did a one side of it where it says Crazy Hood on it. And yeah, that's the homie, man. So that's been there for a couple of years now. But hit the boombox been there for like 10 years, and that's my homie Craig Six and the homies that he works with.
You know, you mentioned something, man, that said if you didn't love this stuff, you wouldn't be doing it no more. I don't think people realize how hard podcasting is. I think people think it's easy. I think that's why you got so many people doing it now.
It's not easy, and it's become just as slimy as the music industry. Like, you know, just it's like, you know, it's the new record label bullshit. Like dealing with the same. Yeah, man. It's
people watching motherfuckers and feel like it's a quick come up, you know, like like, you know, with hip hop. That's why the state of hip hop is so crazy, because you just got, you know, motherfuckers, some motherfuckers who's in it that shouldn't be in it, right?
Right.
And so now they look at podcasting as the same thing, because they see people like you and Nori, they see Gangster Chronicles, they see all these other different podcasts, and they start going, well, shit, we can get into that game too. You know what I'm saying? Just like you said, it's the new record deal, it's the new rap game and shit.
Yep. And you got to put in a lot of work, and right now it's oversaturated like a motherfucker. People ask me all the time, you know, I want to get in the podcast game. I go, you better think about that. You know, I was having a convo. I mean, we down with the same, you know, Black Effect. Shout out to Black Effect and Eiht. And we was having a convo over there, and they were saying the average podcast that, you know, new that gets into the industry, it takes them about 2 to 3 years to really, really start to see something from it. Like, that's crazy. Sure.
I think the average podcast is something. I heard a crazy statistic. I was talking to Charlemagne one day, and he said, man, he was talking about how well we doing, right? And he was saying, still, the average podcast only get like 100 downloads. 100 downloads.
It's like music. Everybody doing it.
Everybody is doing it. I look up, and you know what? I'm not mad at certain people. Like, it's a few rapper podcasts I do. Like, I like the new one. What's homie that used to be on Rockefeller?
Memphis Bleak? That's under Drink Champs. He's under our network.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that. Yeah, I like Memphis Bleak shit. And there's a few of them, man, that's real good, but it's always like drama. It's always host shakeup. See, you and Nori smart, because it's just the two of y'all, right?
Right.
That's why I keep the show with just me and Eiht now. For some reason, whenever you get that third or fourth person, it's gonna wind up being some bullshit. 9 times out of 10, all the time. I don't know why, but almost every show done had their breakups.
Right.
You and Nori ain't never had no smoke, have y'all?
Nah, I mean, listen, we're like any other partners. You're gonna have your ins and your outs, and me and him, a lot of people don't realize our relationship goes far back. People think that mine and his relationship started with Drink Champs, but we met as an artist coming to the Miami market, and I'm one of the DJs he's got to deal with and work with, and we connected on that level right when he was promoting the first CNN album. Like, that's when we connected, and I did his first solo show in Miami when it was the NORE album. I'm the one who booked that first show, and when Capone came out of prison, I'm the one that they hired to help put together a Capone home show in Miami. So our history is vast. It goes back. But once
y'all go back a long ways, man, before all the glitz and all the glamour.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked if we didn't have that relationship going back. But once, and you know, I was his tour DJ. We've toured around the world together. You know, I've done, you know, I've even put on the management hat where I was kind of like road managing Nori and managing him for a minute. So we've done it all together. But when it came to Drink Champs, that was the first time that it was like we were a partnership, you know, an even partnership. And that changed the dynamic a little bit. And those first couple of years, it took, you know, it was a learning curve where we had to figure it out, you know, because you got Nori, the well-known artist, and then you got me, like this DJ that wasn't as well-known to the, you know, widely known like that. So the business side, we had to figure certain things out. And, you know, it took a minute for everything, for the dust to settle. But we figured it out, man, because ultimately we were friends already.
I think it's gonna always be that dynamic, especially when you're dealing with rappers.
Right.
You know, especially when you're dealing with rappers, dealing with Eiht, it don't been pretty easy, you know, because Eiht is real laid back, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But it's not always easy, man. And it can't be easy, especially when the show started sending, like, you know, when the show first started taking off, right? I'm pretty sure y'all had every homeboy that thought y'all can just put them on.
Oh, of course. Still happening.
Exactly.
That shit don't
So
stop.
I'm pretty sure, man, because I got homeboys, man, that got good jobs. I'm talking about this just regular people. Like, man, you know what I was thinking, man? You know, I've got an idea to do this podcast, me and my wife, and they get to talking. As soon as they do that, man, I just kind of hit them, man. I'll be right back. I just hit them with that, you know, the stiff arm, the quick stiff arm, the quick jab. But it's definitely not easy. And I think, man, right now what we going through, what we go see in podcasting, just like music, I think it's gonna kind of flatten a little bit. But then I think it's gonna come up because I think once people see that the money ain't as easy as they think it is, because everybody think this is a quick bag.
Right.
Like, there's people that think me and Eiht just make millions of dollars off the podcast. I don't heard it.
Right. And you got to think about it's kind of stressful when you're doing a week. I don't. You guys do weekly?
Oh hell yeah! It's
the
lot.
Weekly shit ain't no joke to keep up with the weekly shit. When you really start to think about it, especially when this year starts, and I'm like, and I look thinking about like every week to the end of the year, I'm like, it's like looking up a hill, you know, up a mountain. You're like, God damn, here we go again every year.
And you know what? The one thing I gotta commend the homie on, man, on y'all is y'all never missed the episode, bro.
Nah.
I don't ever remember y'all missing the episode. We've never missed one. We've never had a week where Gangster Chronicles didn't come out, but then you have certain things like Eiht is still touring. So it's sometimes Eiht might have to go do a show and I have to hold it down. So I got like a and I try not to do that as much, man, but that's the one thing y'all, like Nori has always been there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we'll take a break though. We'll do on purpose. Like we'll be like, we're gonna take a break at some point. We started doing that later on, you know, because we have the TV aspect with Revolt, where it comes out on cable network TV. So because of that, they'll take, you know, breaks around the holidays. So we'll follow that schedule. We're like, all right, we're gonna take a TV break. So the podcast will take a break and we'll just hold off releasing until the break is over.
That's dope. Me and Eiht been talking about doing that too, man, where we just kind of just can some episodes and just take a break, man, because it's a lot sometimes. Like sometimes I really don't feel like doing this shit, man.
You got to take that break, man, because you got to sit back for a minute. And then for us, we'll take that break. We come back and we're excited again. We're hyped. All right, let's do it. We happy to see the crew. Everybody's ready to rock. You got to take that moment to take a step back because you get jaded by it. It's just everything becomes work. That's what I tell people. No matter how much you love something, no matter how great it seems from the outside, when you got to do something repetitively, everything becomes work at that point.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100% all the time. I've had times to where I think in the last few years we started taking those breaks. Like I started like going to Aruba. You know, Miami is one of my spots. That's how we linked up when I was down there.
Real breaks. You going on vacation?
Oh yeah, You got to. I go on vacation, man. If it ain't calling on my mama or one of my kids, man, I don't answer the phone, man, because you have to take a break. And I'm gonna tell you, the one thing y'all got going on is y'all have guests on y'all show, right? I think I saw a few times to where when COVID was happening, you guys did episodes where it was just you and Nori, right?
Right, yep.
But for the most part, y'all depend on guests. Have y'all ever had it to where y'all had the stuff scheduled and somebody just didn't show up?
Oh, that's happened a lot. Yeah. I mean, luckily that's why you bank episodes, so you don't have to rely on that being the next episode. Well, we've had issues where either the guests flaked on us for whatever reason, or even something happened in our schedules where something happened. Because that's the thing too. Me and Nori have separate lives, separate businesses. You know, Nori's a working artist as well. So sometimes shit, schedules just clash. Like it's hard enough to. I think even y'all, when we were scheduling, you remember how it took a minute to figure out that's. Imagine that's a dance. Everybody's trying to figure out their busy schedules to make it work. So that's the art of banking episodes. That's why you have to bank episodes. So you have the luxury of like, you're not stressing it if something doesn't fall through, just boom, you okay, put that episode. We already got a bunch of episodes done.
I think that's what we gonna have to start doing. I remember one time, man, there was a rapper and he rest in peace now. So we ain't gonna mention his name, man, but dude that hit me and told me, man, because I hit him up, when it's like 10 till, I start getting a little nervous, right? Because usually people, when they coming, they usually come in, especially out here in LA, because don't nobody trust nobody. They come in like 30, 40 minutes early just to peep the layout, like, oh, what's going on? And I'm like,
Right.
man, they hella early. We still setting up, right? And homie told me, man, he said, I'm right around the corner. I'll be there in a minute. 10 minutes after come. And I'm like, this dude ain't gonna come. But when that happened, we just get the show started, right? We doing the show, rain, hail, sleet, or snow. So finally, man, dude calls me around 9:30. I'm on the way home already. Like, man, I'm gonna be there in a minute. I'm like, bro, we already gone. Have y'all ever had that? Somebody tell y'all they was on their way and they just not pop up at all?
Yeah, that's happened a couple times. There was a one time that, and it wasn't even their fault. Actually, a couple times. We were supposed to have Kendrick on one time. And I'm not even gonna put it on Kendrick because I don't know how much him and his immediate team knew, because it was Interscope setting it up. But he was coming to do he was headlining Rolling Loud. And they had set it up where he was gonna come do Drink Champs, fly in, do Drink Champs, then from Drink Champs, go straight to the stage. And then his flight, I think his flight was late or something coming in. And we were all set up and ready to go, and it got canceled. And that's happened a couple times.
Man, y'all always gonna get that Kendrick. Dot don't do too many interviews either, man.
Nah, it was a while ago too. It was like 3 years ago, I think, or maybe even further than that.
I bet you it's impossible now, and that's the homie, man.
Yeah,
that's homie. I don't even ask, man. I don't even ask. I would love to have Dot in the show, but I don't even ask because I know how busy he was, and I ain't seen him do. That's what I was thinking. I said he ain't did Drink Champ. He ain't sat down with none of the big dogs yet.
He don't do podcasts. Has he done a podcast that you could think of other than like Apple, the Apple Music joints? I don't.
You know what? I don't count that, man. But I'm gonna tell you something that's interesting. My homeboy DJ Bobcat, Battle Cat, shout out to the homies. They was doing a podcast with Dre. They had the pharmacy, right? And I used to feel bad when people canceled on me. I thought it was just us. I was like, the motherfuckers don't respect this dog. They canceled on us and shit.
I look at, you know how motherfuckers do. I used to tell you all the time. It just I don't know if I take it as disrespect, but sometimes niggas just be like, maybe they don't take themselves as serious as enough. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
That could be the issue, like I'm saying, because I don't want to look at it as disrespect, because then I'm gonna get pissed off. You get me? So I try to take it in a sense of, shit, this is what a motherfucker think of himself in his motherfucking position. You feel me? Like, fuck.
Man, I don't know, but
I don't ever take it disrespectfully, to be honest with you, unless they themselves is saying something about like I'm not going, for whatever reason. Because this is what I've learned. A lot of times the team be fucking up. The team, a lot of times someone in the team wants it more than the artist even wants it, and doesn't even really fully tell them this is what we're doing until like the last moment. Like they'll set it all up, be like, I love Drink Champs. I want to get someone, I got so-and-so ready for Drink Champs. So-and-so wasn't ready for Drink Champs. And so when they finally tell that person it's all been booked, and then I feel like they probably was like, nah, I wasn't ready to do that, or I got, or the schedule change. I don't ever, unless that person themselves shuts us down and or disrespects, like where it's coming from them, I'll never take it disrespectfully, because you just never know.
And that was early on, not for sure, because when I found out that people cancel on Dre, they same thing, Dr. Dre. That's why he don't do the pharmacy no more, because he got tired of that shit. He was like, man, fuck this. I don't have time for it. And especially him, Dr. Dre worth $1 billion. He ain't got to sit up and do no podcast. He was just doing this he wanted to.
Yep. I heard Ice-T say the same thing. He said he's like, it didn't make sense for him. He wasn't making no money. He did it out of love when he was doing, because he's a pioneer in the space himself.
Oh yeah,
from the internet radio
days. Podcast early on, him and his manager, I think.
Yep.
I can't think of the homie's name, man. So forgive me, Ice. I can't remember the homie's name, but him and his manager had a podcast. It was dope too.
Yeah, no, it was hella dope. Yeah.
He was for sure. I think he was on Loudspeaker. Y'all almost did a situation with Loudspeaker, huh?
That was the first company or production that stepped to us, that actually remembered what we did on Sirius XM, and they stepped to me and Nori, said, that thing y'all was doing, you should do it as a podcast. And Nori put them in contact with me. They even sent equipment and everything, and then Nori he wasn't ready at the time. And they kept saying, what's up? And I sent back the equipment. And then they came back around again, And I spoke to Nori. He's like, yeah, I'm down to do it. And then they sent the equipment again, and the same shit happened. It took like 3 to 5 years. I don't remember the exact amount of time, but it took years to convince Nori and finally get him on board with doing a podcast.
You know what's crazy, man? Loudspeaker was the first
Rest in peace to Combat Jack that was over there.
Yeah, for sure. They was like the first company to get at us. I'm gonna tell you a funny story. It had been different people starting to holler at us after a while, right? And I remember, man, TJ Kirkland that hit me up and said, hey, man, Loudspeaker want to give y'all a deal, but I need to get 50%.
Shit.
I need to get half, right? And so I was like, half, my nigga? Like half? Like half? He was like,
that's a wild deal.
Give me half.
Not even a record label deal.
Yeah.
He wanted half, my nigga, half. And so I finally ran across to Chris Morrow. I finally talked to Chris Morrow, right? And he was like, yeah, I want to do something with you guys. And, you know, he's in the contract. And I was like, well, what's going on? I don't want to give TJ Kirkland half. You know, I don't mind since he got hooked up. He said, man, TJ hooked shit up. I was talking about you guys and he heard and he got at you because he knew me, right? So it was a little crazy, but we almost did a deal with Chris Morrow. We had almost signed with Chris Morrow.
Right.
Shout out to the homie Chris. He's the pioneer, him and Combat Jack.
Yeah, they're pioneers in the space.
That was the first, that wasn't the first podcast I heard, but it definitely was the first like Black and Latino. You know,
yeah, when it comes to hip hop, they were the organized like distribution and production hub. They were the first.
Yeah, they was the first, man. Loudspeaker was a big deal. I wish they did. You know what, man? It seemed like Black Effect kind of picked up that mantle because it's all the same staff, A-King and all the same people that was running Loudspeakers is over here right now. You know, speaking of which, how did y'all hook up with Charlamagne?
When we finished our deal with CBS, which was Play.it, then we were on another Audio Boom. Remember Audio Boom?
I remember Audio Boom, yeah.
And I think Sway, shout out to Sway, he put us down with Audio Boom, if I'm not wrong. We did a deal with them. And then, oh man, I'm trying to remember because we made a bunch, we had all kinds of deals throughout the years. But at some point, Charlamagne, you know, just because Charlamagne was at Play.it too. I think he was over there at one point, or maybe not. We had him on as one of our first guests early on, for sure. And him and Nori already, you know, had a relationship. And so once he started Black Effect, he stepped to us and you know, and we made that deal happen. It was like a no-brainer. It was a good situation for us. Yeah, and it was for the audio only part. You know, we already had the video locked in through Revolt.
That's what we got to do. We got to step our video up, man. We was going to the studio. We actually had a spot for a long time, man. But it's hard to connect that, man. It's hard just to. And the only thing we was doing in the spot was the show, so it didn't make no sense to keep the building, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Because it was just sitting all week.
We still don't have a regular set because we don't want that overhead and we don't want that responsibility.
That's smart, man. I tell everybody, don't get no building. It's a lot of fucking work, man, and it's a lot of overhead too. And you know what's crazy? We had put a whole bunch of money into that building, man. You know, getting it set up and everything. Then it was just like after a while, I was like, damn, man, we just don't put like 30,000 up into this building. I don't even want to do it no more.
Yeah, and you gotta make sure the insurance is on point because something go down. Like for us, I'm like, nah, we don't need that headache.
Well, that's what it was, man. Once I start getting to the point, because you know, people start coming through, and what it was. We had a live event one time and it was like 200 people out there, right? And I was listening to this dude in a wheelchair telling me how he hustled people. He was like, man, y'all better get that shit fixed right there because I get 10, 15, 20,000 every time it's not fixed, run the lick. And he said
the handicap access shit.
Insurance. I said, motherfuckers out here running scams and shit. So once I started talking to insurance and started thinking about the liability, I was like, fuck this shit, man. We use iHeart shit, you know?
Yep.
We use iHeart shit. And that's the thing. The way y'all do y'all show, I don't think it'll work in the iHeart building.
No, they offer it. Even with CBS, we could have done the CBS studios. We did it one time, the first run. We went to New York to sign the deal, and we recorded in their studios. And they complained. They found weed in there. They found cups with liquor. And they was like, "Yo, what the fuck is this?"
Yeah. That's how it was because we used it. Eiht, was you on the show when we was using the CBS building?
Nope.
So we was using the CBS building, right? And we had that motherfucker immaculate. We would leave immaculate, and because it just wasn't our show. I had a whole network of shows, right? So it was like 3-4 shows. But every time some bad shit happened, they would blame us.
Oh shit.
That was the reason why I would never take one of them key cards, because they would blame us on shit for shit that happened on a weekend or whatever. And I was like, bro, we don't even have access to the building during that time. So it wasn't us, you know. And they would still blame us. So I never wanted to keep. When they give it to us, I said, I just come up there. We come up there during the week, during business hours, when somebody up there to let us in. I was like, fuck that. It's a big ass headache, man.
Yeah, imagine.
You get blamed for everything.
You seen Drink Champs. Imagine trying to bring all those people into one of them corporate buildings. That wouldn't happen.
You gotta have your own setting and shit. You got to, especially if you want to have the atmosphere right. You feel me? Because you stepping up in corporate places, you're gonna already feel like, man, we can't do shit up in here.
Yeah, nah. We really need to be comfortable. Nori's really big on feeling like he's, you know, in his own safe space where it's like no one's gonna judge, no one's gonna talk shit, and we can do whatever we want. We've been lucky, man. We've had great partners when it comes to like places that we could film at. We were filming at this bar called Racket in Wynwood for like 3-4 years. Those are the homies. They legendary like owners of clubs and bars out here. So they saw the value in having us there, you know, and cross promoting their stuff. So we were there for a minute, and we've been at different spots, and it just always worked out for us, man. It's always been great.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You definitely got to be comfortable, because you know Eiht like to smoke, right? And that's why it's like we go in a place and he can't smoke. You're like, man, we can't smoke in here, man. You know,
you can't be yourself.
Exactly.
You want to be yourself. You don't want to be comfortable.
Yeah, man. That's the thing. You know, podcasting has got a little bit better. Let me ask you this, man. This is something that me and Eiht was talking about. With all the drinking that y'all do on the show and smoking and everything else, YouTube ain't never gave y'all no drama.
What do you mean? Like YouTube?
Yeah, like far as YouTube, you know, man, we don't been demonetized a whole bunch of times, man.
You know what? We haven't gotten issues with that, but I could tell you that our content is suppressed in some kind of way because of that. And not just because of that. I'm gonna say this is maybe my conspiracy, but I don't think it's a conspiracy. Ever since the Kanye episode, that second one that went crazy, we've been like, I feel like we've been shadow banned and suppressed in the algorithm since then.
Oh yeah, that's a real thing, bro.
Right. And then I think you couple that with the alcohol and the type of content, especially over the years, YouTube has gotten more and more strict. So I think to a degree we've been kind of like suppressed, but I mean, we still going until the wheels fall off.
You know what, man? Our audio numbers do so well to where really we have never been dependent on the whole visual thing, right? Like we put video out now, but it's real sporadic. You feel what I'm saying? It's real sporadic. That's why we're doing this show on Zoom right now, because Eiht live way out in the beat and boondocks too. So him coming down to Hollywood all the time just don't work. So we just started doing it remotely, right? Because it was like, man, you know, but I ain't gonna even ask you. And I used to think he was just complaining at first until I went over his house to take a mic. I took some equipment over there or something like that. And like the first 40 minutes, I was like, okay, I should be almost there. Then the hour was up. Then it was like on an hour and a half. And I was like, God damn. When I called him, I was like, bro, I think I passed your crib. He's like, no, you halfway here. And I was like, man, I never complained no more after that. I said, man, the homie is driving far.
Right.
So it's definitely a commitment. The biggest thing I tell everybody is this, man, with the podcast thing, that yeah, it's some money to be made, but it takes a while. It takes a long time. And if you don't have no audio numbers cracking, bro, it's probably not going to happen. I don't care how many YouTube views you're doing, because YouTube views are kind of arbitrary, right? You know, you can see a dude picking, you know, they got pimple popping videos, man, to do way more views than me and you both combined could ever do, right? So it don't necessarily mean that you got a fan base out there just because you get a lot of views on YouTube.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
If me and Eiht just decided to talk about, man, if I told everything that I know about people, bro, we would get 1 million views every episode. I'm pretty sure with you the same thing, right?
Right.
And I tell people, if your audio is not going down, man, if you're not getting a certain amount of views on audio, you're not going to get a check from nobody, because they have to be able to cover. I think people just think you get money. Like I heard somebody tell me that we got a $5 million deal.
That you got one?
Yeah, that we got one on the street. That was a thing. You remember all the shit I was going through Eiht for a minute?
Yeah.
I was like, still over there sitting on $5 million. And it actually caused some friction inside of our internal camp to where people just thought I got this bag of money, right?
Right.
And didn't share no one. But I said, bruh, I still live in the same crib, still pulling up here in the same whip.
Right.
I got all this money. Y'all got to really think about what y'all saying, bro. Have you ever had how have you ever went through this stuff, man, like with family, thinking that you guys got more money than what you really got?
I mean, not with family, but you know what, man? I've actually been lucky, man. My crew is solid. You know, my whole Crazy Hood crew, we from high school to now, the same crew. No one's ever tested me like that. My family doesn't test me like that. They're not in my pockets. And I'm just like, I don't like, I look at things in a way where it's like nothing is lasts forever. So, I'm like, whatever I'm getting, I'm investing it. I'm putting it to the side for the kids, for college, and then,
you got
like we can't be talking that rich talk. There's rich for real. Like we making a good living is what I tell people. Look, I'm lucky I'm making a good living off this, but if this shit ends tomorrow, I ain't rich. I ain't gonna be like living off of interest off the shit. Yeah. So that's rich when motherfuckers, live off interest forever. So I haven't been tested by people, man. If anything, there's the people on the outside, like people for you that people were assuming that you made certain deals. And also, you know how when they put out these deals and they do these press releases and it says, this, Drink Champs got $8 million, $20 million, like some crazy shit. It's like the record label shit. I tell people, man, this is the same okie doke as a record label shit. The totality of the deal is worth that much money, but hypothetically, that includes what they're paying their staff over there at that company for promotion, what the charges are for distribution, like all these different things. And then you break that apart into production, and then you break that even more into, then the management gets some, and then me and Nori get our talent fees, or whatever from that. It's not that amount of money you've seen on that piece of paper or online. That's not what we getting in our pockets. It's just like the record. When they say, "Oh, so and so got signed to a $5 million deal with Sony or whatever," that artist did not get $5 million in that deal. That's what that deal's worth. They put out all the albums. That's what all the chargebacks, all the they got an advance on that, maybe $100,000 advance. They didn't get $5 million. It's the same thing. But no one's tried me, man. Thankfully,
people be naive. People be naive though most of the time. Anytime you think of anything that got to do with entertainment or music or podcasts, and they automatically think, "Oh, nigga, you rich as a motherfucker." And like you said, it's like I'm doing okay. You get me?
Right.
But it's no different than a motherfucker who got to go to a good job, getting a good paycheck, but they still working a 9 to 5, nigga. We still working 9 to 5s. Yeah. It's a good 9 to 5. You get me? We might be the motherfucking foreman or motherfucking the superintendent, but we don't own the motherfucking company. You get me? Them is the motherfuckers who's rich, the motherfuckers who own this motherfucker. I'm just got a nice position inside the company where, like you said, I can maybe put a little money away, maybe hopefully do some shit for the kids. But like you said, if this motherfucker closed down tomorrow, shit, I can't sit up for the rest of my days. I'm gonna have to go find the motherfucking hustle. You feel me?
Well, the good thing about this podcast and stuff, man, the Black Effect deal is a blessing, right? Black Effect is a blessing, man. I love being over here. We've been over here, I think, the same amount of time. We kind of came in together, right? I'd say this though, if that aspect of it was to end, the show would continue to go on. It can sustain itself, right? And I'm pretty sure if we could sustain ourselves, Drink Champs could. Have y'all ever thought about, and don't get nervous, Dolly, this is just me asking hypothetical questions.
Shout out Dolly, man. She's great. Sorry, say again, sorry.
Have you guys ever thought about just going totally independent?
Yeah, I mean, we have. And part of that is thinking even bigger than just the one show, doing the network that we launched, which we partnered with Black Effect and Eiht on our network on the audio side. I'm always thinking of the pivot, man, because, and shout out to the show, The Pivot, too. But we've all been in this entertainment space. We all know there's ebbs and flows. This shit, 1 minute you up, next minute you down. And if you don't learn your lesson through a couple of those, then then you deserve getting fucked up, because I already know if we got 10-year run, oh man, we lucky in this industry to get a 10-year run. Now we better start looking at what the pivot is, what the next evolution of what we're doing. We build the brand to a certain space. What is it going to do beyond these regular deals that we've been doing? Because the industry changes, the way that people, consume or look at the brand changes. They maybe there's new people in the podcast space, and the audience gets divided. You got to look at everything. You can't just be sitting all, comfortable being like, we're going to be this forever. So yeah, I mean, I think about independence. I think about a different way of doing this podcast. I've always, since the beginning, have looked at the podcast space and felt there's a better way to do this. I've always thought
if you don't refine it, man, you'll be out the game, because we going on our 8th year, right? This is our 8th year, right? And I think about it sometimes and say, damn, time went fast. But I always think about kind of like what's next, right? What do we have to do? Me and Eiht have conversations all the time, especially like as the next year approaches, and say, okay, what are we gonna do different this year? And I think the biggest thing for us, because you've been fortunate to where your situation has been the same. Man, the original host that we have in the show ain't even here no more.
Right.
For whatever reason. So everything kind of just got, you feel what I'm saying? It was always, it was always some shit that happened. And it was always due to outside sources. Never had nothing to do with the actual show itself. It was always some outside bullshit that happened. And I think that's the biggest thing. Whenever you get a group of people together, man, whenever you get more than 2 people, I always tell people especially people I feel that may have action that doing this shit for real, I always say, man, whatever you do, make sure your paperwork is straight at the beginning, man.
Right.
Like get some kind of agreement, even if it's y'all write some shit down on a piece of paper and sign it, each. Even
you gotta have clarity. Yep.
Get some shit, man, together, because when you ain't making no money, everything is cool. But the minute $500 come in, it's gonna be some bullshit, because people gonna be thinking, man, was it really $500 or was it $1,000?
Right.
So get some shit together and be kind of transparent with that. And I think that's the biggest thing. Is you don't see some podcasts, man. I think all the podcasts that had groups of people on it, none of the original hosts on there no more.
Yeah, too many chefs in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, for sure. Everybody wants to be the boss, man, and it's a whole lot. The one thing I wanted to ask you was this, right? You said you married, right?
Yep.
I noticed you like me in that sense. You do a good job of kind of keeping your family, like your wife and your kids and all that, outside the limelight of this stuff. Absolutely. Has this stuff ever like intersected into your home life?
Nah, just that the kids, kind of, I have young kids that they're starting to grow up to kind of be aware that their dad does something in like entertainment space and music. Like, they see I still got my turntables, my records, whenever they see anything hip hop that they associated with me. They also, it's funny because I'm sponsored by Monster Energy. So they also grew up thinking that Monster Energy was my company. So they would see the M. Crazy. They're like, Daddy, look, your company, Monster. I'm like, no, it's not mine. I wish
Monster's
I was
off the hook too.
Yeah, shout out to Monster Energy. But nothing negative. If anything, they always, when people would come up to me who recognize me from the show out and about with the family, my kids are like, they would just be like, who's that? I'd be like, oh, it's just, a friend. And they would like, Dad, you got a lot of friends. Because I wasn't gonna sit there and explain everything to them. So now, they're getting a little older and they're understanding it more. But I keep them kind of sheltered away from a lot of the stuff. And
me too. Like,
when it makes sense, I bring them around, to certain things.
Yeah, because I don't even follow my wife on social media, and that's crazy, because she's like, at first she was like, well, why you not accepting my friend request? I was like, man, because I don't need nobody going to your inbox talking shit,
No, my wife is the worst, man. She loves to defend me, and I said, stop your comment shit. She early on when people would talk shit, she'd be the comment warrior, like, going in there and beefing. My wife originally from LA, she moved out here for me. So she got that LA mentality. She go in there all brolic, and I'm like, you need to stop that. Last thing I need is to have to go in there and get mad at some random ass commenter going back and forth. You need to stop that shit, because that's what I do.
I got nephews and nieces like that, man, where I see them in the comments going back and forth, threatening motherfuckers and all kind of shit. And I'm like, man, knock that off. You are never go see this person.
Yeah, I
That
don't
person,
deal with none of that shit. I don't fuck with the comment section. If it ain't positive, you know, like me personally, I don't do all the commenting shit. Like I'm
oh,
gonna
you
put something
can't, man.
positive or nothing at all. You know.
You
Yeah,
can't
you gotta
because you
learn.
know.
You gotta learn to avoid that type of shit
Yeah,
because it's gonna happen. You feel me?
and
And
it
it's,
gets under your skin.
most of the time, yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna get under your skin.
yeah,
So you gotta learn how to roll that shit off, man.
yeah.
Because motherfuckers are gonna try. It's always one every. It don't matter.
Right,
Like
no matter.
you don't have to interact with a motherfucker, and you could just post some shit, and a motherfucker's gonna come on there negatively with something to say because it's just what they have to. It's just what they do. So
Yep.
if you don't learn how to let that shit roll off, it would definitely get under your skin,
Oh
and
yeah,
you be
for sure.
fighting with a motherfucker you ain't gonna never see in your life.
Yep.
I remember, man, when Eiht first came on the show, because this podcast and shit is a little different than the music shit. Because when you a rapper, it's a whole bunch of people come. You're not paying no attention to them. You're kind of too busy. But when you're
Right.
a podcaster, you know, you get to sitting down there going down that rabbit hole. Eiht had motherfuckers coming out all of a sudden with all these accusations about shit, right? The first thing I told him was, man, respond to that shit one time if you want to, but then leave it alone.
Right.
Because if you feed into it, it's just gonna make it bigger than what it needed to be, right? So I've had people, man, to where it'd be a million great comments, right? It'd be a million good comments, and they just focus on the one motherfucker. I'm like, if anything, go talk to all these million other people that got good shit to say, right? And I think that just become a part of it. And it's always weird to me, man, about people in the comment section, because you would have the same person coming back to comment week in and week out to talk some shit.
Yep.
But they're there every week. So I really think haters is just your biggest fans, man.
Let me tell you, I learned
fans.
I learned a lesson that I'll never forget. Well, Ice-T definitely he taught us a lesson in one of the first episodes with him where he was like, learn to use that block button. He's like, fuck around, just block motherfuckers. And to hear that coming from Ice-T, because I used to be like, I don't block you. I ain't scared. But he's like, just block them. Just block them. And I'm like, damn, you're right, Ice. I'm gonna block these motherfuckers. But and luckily, look, again, I don't know. I've been lucky thus far. It shit had been too crazy to me. But I learned a lesson one time. I was at an event during Art Basel here in Miami, random event, and I'm at this show. It was a hip hop show, and some dude comes up to me and he's like, "I'm a huge Drink Champs fan. Oh man, I can't believe he's taking pictures with me. He's hype." He's like, "Man," and he starts talking business. He's like, "Yo, I run this weed company, man. Maybe y'all want to do some Smoke Champ shit." Boom, boom. And he's talking big business, and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, you know, exchange numbers." And then he's like, and then he hits me. He's like, "Hey man, I'm trying to add you on Instagram, but I don't know, I can't add you. Have you ever blocked me?" And I'm like, "What? Like, why would I block you? You know?" And then I was like, and then I go to one of my other accounts from our company account, and I see the dude, and I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I must have." I said, "Listen, man, I haven't blocked many people, but if I blocked you, it's because you must have said some reckless shit at some point." And he's like, "Yeah, man, I got mad that one time that you was beefing on something happened on the podcast and I didn't like it. And yeah, I might have said something crazy." I was like, this motherfucker, like, it just shows you, like, he didn't even remember properly that he did that. But when he first met me, he's all the biggest fan. He's taking pictures. He talking business. But mind you, for me to block someone, he must have said something outrageous.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So this motherfucker was saying some crazy stuff. I learned a valuable lesson that most of those motherfuckers that talk all that crazy shit in real life, they not about that shit.
Exactly. They just want 5 minutes of fame, because actually they really don't think you're gonna respond back, is what it is. And they just be wanting to comment and get their shit off. And then when you respond back to a motherfucker, they be really surprised. "Oh, my bad. It ain't even really like that, man. You know, I respect you," and all of that shit. So most of the time, motherfuckers just want 5 minutes of fame. It's something about people like that. It kills me. Like a nigga ain't never met you in their life, and they mad about something that was posted on the show or something from the show. That's the most ridiculous shit ever. Niggas,
it's always some stupid shit.
Exactly.
Before we bounce, I bet you didn't know this. I bet you didn't know EFN was from LA originally.
You talking to Eiht?
Yeah, I'm talking to Eiht. Did you know that, Eiht?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I'm originally from LA.
Where you Downey?
Well, my family's in Downey now, but I lived in Southgate. That's where the original. My family went to Southgate. Well, long story short, I'm Cuban. My family Cuban.
Mm-hmm.
When my parents came, they came separately. My dad came through this program that they were smuggling these kids, the Catholic Church and I think the CIA, smuggling them out of Cuba because they thought they were gonna be assassinated or killed or whatever. So they smuggled him out, and he ended up in an orphanage in Washington State. But then he joined the Marines and volunteered for Vietnam, and then he was stationed out in San Diego. And then my mom ended up through another program getting out of Cuba, and she, like, people don't know Miami, how they know Miami to be Cubans. Originally, they didn't want all these Cubans in Miami. Like, the people here were like, nah, you need to spread these motherfuckers out.
Cubans in LA too.
So they spread them out they gave free bus tickets to the Cubans. They're like, yo, get out of here. We don't want you concentrated here. So I had family in Jersey, in New York, and in LA. And then, so my parents met in LA, and my family was in Southgate, Be Real, and them, they're Cuban.
I know
they're
all
in
about Southgate, man. Because Downey is maybe 10 minutes from Southgate. Like, actually, if I cross Firestone and go on the other side, like right down the street from me, I'm in Southgate.
Yeah, well, Downey became like, I think the Cubans, when they made it out of Southgate, they all moved to Downey and shit. And then my family,
they call Downey the Mexican Beverly Hills.
Well, there's a ton of Cubans there.
Of Cubans there. I got Cuban neighbors.
Yeah, and grandparents, when they finally came from Cuba, they ended up in Inglewood. And so I was every other weekend with my grandparents in Inglewood. They were there during the riots. Like, I spoke to them in the middle of the riots. They actually were the ones telling me, like, yo, the TV isn't showing all the Latinos. It's all Mexicans and Latinos out here trying to bring TVs to us and shit, because they was in right there in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. The LA riots was crazy, man. But man, I really appreciate you coming on, man, to fuck with us, man, for a spell, man.
Nah, thank y'all, man. I appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, man.
Actually, hold up. Look, I was like, look, I'm telling you, man, I maintain the fan in me. Look, this is a newer vinyl because I got the older original version, but when they did the re-release, I copped this.
Yeah, that's the re-release.
And I had the cassette that I had you sign when you came.
Oh, yeah, I want my money, Epic.
Yeah.
And you still got it wrapped up on there, man. So you a big vinyl head, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I stopped for a while, but then I started buying vinyl again, man. And there was a point.
Like $100 now, man. I was talking to homie Rock Marcy, man. He getting like $150, $200 for his vinyl.
Yeah. Vinyl's expensive. I even go and buy cassettes again, man. Like, I had my old cassette collection, and I started buying cassettes again, man. Because what's funny is that in early Drink Champs, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna get nobody to sign anything. I ain't gonna be that dude. But then as I kept going, I was like, man, fuck this shit, man. This is history we're living.
Exactly.
Like, I'm a fan inside, so fuck it. I'm gonna show my appreciation. Look, I'm bringing shit that I got when I was a kid. Now I'm here sitting with this person. I'm gonna get them to sign it. It's just incredible to me, man. It happened on Drink Champs, so it makes it even more valuable. So
right, definitely,
man. I'm gonna tell you, man, get all you can, because I've had like 3 people, man, where I rescheduled the interview, man. Shout out to the rest in peace to homie Bigg Steele.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Bigg Steele was gonna be one of our first interviews for Gangster Chronicles. A good friend of mine, like that was like my brother, right? So I had my son's football practice, right? And I told him, I said, man, let's do it tomorrow better. And he was already on his way down the freeway. He said, man, good looking. He said, man, sure, I can go back to the crib now, right, and smoke. Man, I hit him up the next day to reschedule. He didn't pick up the phone. Next day I hit him, he didn't pick up the phone. Found out the homie had died. Damn. That happened to 2 other people, man. So I always say, no, I never do that, man. Whenever I schedule something, man, unless something just crazy happen, I always do it, because you never know, man, if you go see that person again.
You never know, man. I mean, look at unfortunately, look at a lot of the people that have been on Drink Champs that passed on. Like, it's crazy to me to think about that.
Yeah, it's real crazy, man. We only here for a finite time, man. So we got to take advantage of the moment.
Yep.
But man, we appreciate you, big dog.
All day, all day.
And on that note, y'all, we out of here.
Peace.
Yeah.